Today I'm going to talk to you about self-worth and getting to the root cause of what was it that created this sense in us that we're not good enough, we're not worthy enough, we're not enough. You can fill in your own word after that. And that holds us back when it comes to our work life, our businesses that we want to create, our dreams, our lives even. And so one of the things that I learned on my journey is that the way our brains develop when we're younger is really, really important. So one of the things that never happens in school is no one ever explains to you how does the brain work and how does it actually help you to navigate life. And so what you need to understand is the brain is like a computer and it uses its logic to analyze data. And that data comes in the form of emotions, in the form of facts, in the form of experiences, right? And the brain helps you to process that data and decide what to do about it. Now, as adults, what we don't always recognize is that our brain has an operating system. And that operating system has a preset mode. And that means that it comes with an automatic set of functions about how you should respond to life. And that operating system gets set roughly between the ages of 0 to 7 or 8, depending on which research you read. And essentially, we then carry that programming into adulthood, and it doesn't always serve us. It was designed so that as a child, we could keep ourselves safe in the event of any disturbing circumstances. And it was also designed so that we could navigate the world and learn and absorb from it. So between the ages of 0 to 7 or 8, our brains are in something called a hypnotic brainwave state. And what that means is that we don't have the ability to logically analyze things. All the subconscious brain can do is absorb the messages that it receives. So it's literally like having no filter, and everything you see, observe, that gets repeated, you soak it up. You know, we say, oh, kids are like sponges. Well, this is why, because they can't say no. Their subconscious mind takes everything in. So let's talk about where the root of the issue is then. So why is it that so many of us grow up feeling so unworthy, feeling like we can't live our destiny, our dreams, make things happen, or we notice that we make decisions but it always seems to go wrong and we just don't know how to break that cycle. So these words are to accompany the journaling that you're going to do following, and this will help you to work out where it went wrong for you personally. But very generally, as a child, when you're born, you are literally entitled to the love and care of your parents. It's totally normal to seek their approval and to seek their validation of your life experience, okay? Now, let's put this as an example. If you are a young child and your mother or your father or both aren't coming to you and saying, hey, you know, you're such a good little girl. Oh, you've done a great job. What would you like? What do you want? What are you feeling? What do you want to do? All of these questions help a young child to connect with their sense of self and know that their self is real, that they are grounded, and that they belong and have intrinsic value to be in the world. Now, where it goes wrong is that so often our parents do things that don't give us that sense of self that feels secure. So when they don't give you that sense of validation, when they're not checking in with you, when they're not showing you that your experience is real and valid and that you are totally accepted as you are, what happens is there's like a divine connection that gets severed. And because we're in this hypnotic brainwave state, our brain as a child literally learns this lesson, and this lesson is, oh, I'm not loved, I'm not valid, I'm not enough. And it has no way of recognizing that this is not true. Because as a child, as an innocent young thing, every child is completely entitled to rely on their parents. Between the age of 0 and 18, you should never have been made to feel criticized. You should never have been criticized. You should never have been shamed or made to feel guilty for wanting the connection, for needing the parents. It was your divine birthright, okay? So this is where it goes wrong, because what that does is it sets up in our operating system that we take into adulthood the message that, oh, you can't do that because you're not enough. You can't do this. I can't do this because I'm bad. I can't do this because I always get things wrong. I can't do this because I'm not clever enough. I can't do this because, and it's not a logical thing. It's like a sense inside of us. It's an emotion. It's a physical response, because that's how the subconscious works. It's not all logic. As we said, at that age, you don't have the ability to make logical choices. The subconscious brain it's got no filter. It just has to accept everything. And so knowing that you were entitled to that support, to complete acceptance, to being loved, to being validated, to having people be interested in you, to having people show you that you have value and that you deserve to shine and that you bring wonderful things into this world, that's the connection that should have been there. And when we don't get it, what happens is we, inside ourselves, become split. We start to deny our true self. We sort of go, oh no, our true self isn't valid. And instead we create a persona. In psychology terms, this is like the id, the ego, the superego even as well. And it's the bit that's not, I just call it the not you. That's the simplest way to say it. It's the not you. So what we do is we promote the thing, the mask, the not us, and we hide away our true self. And even when we grow up and we learn some lessons and we go through some challenges and we really want to expand and progress our life, what happens is, logically, we know that's what we can do, but subconsciously we still have these beliefs of, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. For me personally, when I was 3 years old, went through a situation. My mother was mentally ill at the time, although not diagnosed. And I remember coming down the stairs for breakfast and the postman knocked at the door and the post was pushed through. And my mother was in the kitchen. So I walked down the hall to the kitchen and she had shut the door and wouldn't let me in. Okay. And so I was really confused by this because I was like helpless. I needed my mum. I wanted breakfast. And I was like, Mum, it's just the postman. Don't be scared. And she was like, go away, be quiet, don't make any noise. I don't want anyone to know we're here. And as a child, I took that in as a program that literally went into my operating system and said, you're not loved, you won't be cared for, and you're going to be on your own. I walked away from that kitchen door and I looked at the post and picked it up. And I remember thinking to myself, there's no one here for me. I'm going to have to take care of myself. I'm on my own. Okay? And with that came, I'm not loved. I'm not worthy of love. I don't know why I'm not liked. I must be being bad. And I was like, what do I do? And I stood at the bottom of the stairs and I thought, when I'm naughty and I'm bad, Mum tells me to go to the bedroom. So that's what I'm going to do. And I went to my bedroom because that's where I felt safest. Okay? So all of that was in my operating system. So when I grew up and I was, trying to do wonderful things and live my dreams, I was getting drowned. Literally, it felt like drowning by this operating system that was telling me, you're not good enough, you're bad, you won't be loved. So even putting my work out there was like, oh God, I'm going to get rejected if I do that. Or if, I don't know, if there was ever any tension in work, I'd be like, oh my God, is it my fault? Am I really bad? Have I got this wrong? You know, and I didn't know how to validate myself and know what was real and what wasn't. And I often felt a sense of confusion around this. So a couple of key points from this talk are essentially every single child, you and your children, this works both ways, had a birthright to be validated and to be accepted, okay? If that went wrong in any way, shape or form, it doesn't necessarily have to be critical or abusive or negative. It can literally be in the shape that it's neglect. Nobody ever asked you, what do you want? Nobody ever asked you, what do you like? What do you think you're good at? Oh, hey, this is what you're good at, okay? Neglect is something very, very, very subtle, and many people think that they had a great childhood because they can't pinpoint a negative experience, but actually it can be the absence of some of the things that are needed. And I'm not saying that makes parents bad. Everyone is on this journey. People can only give the love that they can give to themselves. If they never got it off their parents, they can't pass it on to you, and you can't pass it on to yours. This is how it works. It's why in the Bible it talks about we inherit the sins of the forefathers. I believe this is exactly what it's talking about. And so the second takeaway point is, the first one was you were intrinsically supposed to have been accepted and validated so that you could know that you're real, that you have value, that you're grounded to earth, that you know that your life means something. And then the second thing is that you can let go of guilt by knowing that. You can know that because you're entitled to that, you were totally okay to have felt like you wanted that. There was nothing wrong with you. And remember, where we go wrong is where we get into trouble is when we don't realise, even into adulthood, that we could never get that validation, not unless we did what someone else wanted, because they had their own stuff going on, nothing to do with you, but for whatever reason, you were being criticised for being you, you were being potentially abused, hit, ignored, rejected, any of those things. So it's normal to want that validation and acceptance. Even as an adult, you can let go of some shame and some guilt for that. Know that you should never have been guilted or made to feel shameful for ever having wanted that. Know that when the connection isn't there, that we reject ourselves. That's what we learn. Our operating system gets programmed with, you must reject yourself. You are not worthy. You are not good enough. You are not valid. You are not enough. You are not, whatever the word is. We all have our own little words, but essentially it comes back to this point of self-worth. You are not, the self is not worthy of love. The self is not worthy of kindness and care and respect and interest in you. And so know that this was not your fault. And that what we've got to do over through the journaling and through the exercises that I'm going to share with you is we've got to get you to feel it, and we've got to get you to not just think it, because so often we can logically know, oh, well, you know, I know I'm good, I know I feel this. So why is it that so many women and professional women and even super successful women appear to be great on the surface, but inside they have these nagging doubts, or they have to force themselves through like the internal tension in order to maintain that level of success or to move themselves forward. It's like going through treacle at times. And it's really to do with, I found largely to do with this. There are other reasons. There are historical things where women don't have the same foundation as men. There are issues around, not having a foundation to do with financial stuff, not having a foundation to do with ethnicity, even language, so many different things. But this is like a really big piece of the puzzle. And children, every child should be taken care of. They should receive empathy. They should be feeling safe to be themselves. And when we didn't get that, we presumed it was our fault. We learned we're not enough. And nothing could be further from the truth. And this is what I really want you to take on board and explore with the journaling, is that nothing could be further than the truth. It's absolutely not your fault that your parents couldn't connect with yourself and they couldn't show you how to do that. Many of our parents never learned how to give that to themselves, so they couldn't show it to us, okay? So this isn't to criticise them. This is to make you aware of the root cause of low self-esteem, of feeling more than low self-esteem, feeling unworthy of your dreams, unworthy of what you want. It's the reason why so many of us don't make decisions for ourselves, in the sense of we choose jobs that other people tell us are good, we take advice of other people about our love lives, we doubt ourselves if we do make a decision and someone else disagrees with us. So the first step is to become aware of what was the root of this, what was going on when you were younger, okay? So that's what this week's journaling is going to be about. And then the next step is going to be learning how to validate the experiences that you had. So I hope you find this interesting. I would love to know how you get on with it. And at the next step, we'll be discussing what you journaled about. Did anything surprising come up for you? Anything that you didn't remember? Did anything get confirmed to you? Did you have any aha moments? What did this show you? Give me a summary of what this this journaling process reveals to you. So good luck with it. Any questions, you can always get in touch. Holly@evolving.careers. Take care.